Oh, thanks. I'm not sure if you saw the whole thing.
I know it's Anubis.
Yeah, with the heart.
Oh, nice. All right, everybody. Tonight we're hanging out with Omanow and whoever decides to show up until Shadow starts saying shindig. Then I'll probably go over there and bug my big brother because it's fun and it's him. So I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about whatever and try to have some of those guidance, lines of respect. If I'm going to make fun of Rip Van Winkle, I'm going to make fun of the Great Orange Danger.
God, name a politician that we shouldn't make fun of. I mean, we can go around the world at this point, the way that they're so clownish.
Yeah. At least in the British Parliament, when one of the colleagues, bones up, they can, you'll hear from the other side, stop being a jackass.
Well, you know what though, and I have to admit this. I mean, you're not because at 7:00 or whenever, early in the morning, I can actually watch them do the parliamentary, back and forth. You actually have to be somewhat semi-conscious to actually refute. I mean, you go through like, I don't like this politician, I don't like this politician, but they are a little bit quick-witted. Even when I watch Trudeau, they at least have to like have some cognizant thought. It's not like, hey, we're going to put up this cadaver and let him go through, and we'll have the machines, read off for it.
Yeah, no shit. I don't know. What was the last one? Didn't even last as long as a head of lettuce. I think what was the main joke.
Oh, that was hilarious with Liz Truss.
Yeah.
And the head of lettuce won. Oh, that was great. I loved that one. That was fantastic. And if you see a cameo, that's my son, who's trying to avoid me.
Hey, multi-gun man, how are you doing? I don't know. Between cooking, gaming, and trying to avoid the terrorists that we allow on TV, that would be CNN, MSN, Fox News, just to name a few. It's just all you can do is sit back and giggle and drink.
You know what? I never thought the dystopian future would be kind of Brazil mixed in.
But yeah,
I mean, I was going like, oh my God, we're going towards a dystopian future, and I look at him like, oh my God, it's like they even stopped trying to like put up some kind of competence.
I thought last week World War III was about ready to break loose when the drone hit Poland.
Oh, I saw that as well, and I don't know if you saw the Discord on Legion of for Legion of Myth,
right?
But my first response was, they are going to be doing that because they always keep it, back and forth. And I heard, this is just stupid. And everyone's like, oh no, I said, it's probably Ukrainian, surface to air missile that missed, which is what exactly it was. And unfortunately, 2 Polish people died. But what gets me about it is the media was going, oh yeah. And I'm like, oh, I never thought that we were so close to nuclear war and it wouldn't be so bad, except that we're kind of run by Dr. Strangelove meets Monty Python.
I'm gonna have to pick that movie. I really am. We just got done on my Sunday show. I don't know if you were aware, but we read the Russian novel We.
I'm halfway through it. I'm halfway through that,
and I'm not. I'm glad that I read it.
Okay, good.
It makes me wish I spoke Russian, so I can actually see the original writing. Because I'm pretty sure something had to get lost in translation, because it always does.
I'm sure it did, but what amazed me was listening to it. Is it sound like a very modern novel? Now I'm like I said, only halfway through, and I'm listening to it, and it's going, "No, wait a minute. This was written in 1921 or 22."
This was before I can't pronounce his name. 1984.
Oh
This
yeah.
was the first of its kind.
I mean, this was like when my grandparents were 6. I mean, this is way. I mean, I was just like, wow, and just the way he was describing everything, which I mean, after the past few years, where everyone's like, well, trust the science. I went, the integral this and integral that, and they're going through this, and like, how dare she allow alcohol, and I went,
Oh yeah.
I just, why does it sound creepily familiar? I was just like, oh my god. I hate saying this because we do talk about RPGs. This is the kind of dystopian future I expected. Not Brazil, like we talked about. Oh my god.
As much as I think Jack is still watching. As much as I pick fun of him for some of the movies he's had us watch, this was a great choice. This book was a great choice, and I'm glad that I read it. There's actually a movie that Russia is producing. It's supposed to come out in Russia. I don't know if we'll see it over here, but they turned the book into a movie.
What amazes me is, Hollywood is so intellectually bankrupt. And I went, why don't you create this or this? And I realized, oh, it's because it's not popular. Because I read Gulag Archipelago. Well, I listened to it on audio. I have the books too. But Gulag Archipelago, and you can tell Solzhenitsyn, he puts in that dark, dark sense of humor. I went to Russia in 1993. Yeah, 93. I went to Russia in 1993, and my father was trying to buy those stacking dolls. You pull them out and you put
the Russian treasure dolls.
Yes. Anyway, he went over and they had one of Yeltsin and a couple of others. He says, "Oh, do you have one that goes through all of the premieres?" He says, "Oh no, we don't have the dictator line. We'll have to make one later." And they were, and the sad thing is, this is why I'm so anti-communist and socialist, is I saw what happened in Russia in 1993. And, we were in Moscow, and old women are selling their books and everything off. And the young that could speak English were translating for them. I was like, holy crap. And the sad thing is, that's where I see us going now. It's just like, hey, guys, stop spending so much. Just stop it.
Was it, okay, 1921, that was Lenin?
That was right at, so the Bolshevik Revolution was 1917. And then they were killing off the Mensheviks. And I believe that's the same time. It's right around the same time that you had the white and the red Russians fighting. So there was a Civil War. And it was right at that time or it was right after. It was real close to that time. So
my Russian history is not what it should be, but I'm like, I think it was like Lenin, then Stalin, then holy shit.
Trotsky. You had all of these things, but everything I've listened, and I do like the Russian literature, and I need to read Dostoevsky. I was trying to read Anna Karenina, and what amazes me is the way that now I understand it's been translated, but the themes and everything that they're talking about sound so modern. And I don't mean like modern at that time. I mean like
now, yeah.
And Anna Karenina's, I'm like, okay, and steal the Russian stuff. Speaking of which, is if you've ever seen Night Watch, I highly recommend that movie.
Oh, I love that movie, Night Watch. Night Watch was was amazing. The second one was like, yeah. What was that new one that came out? It was like their answer to the Avengers. I think it was Guardians.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I did watch. It wasn't T-34. It was White Tiger or something. It was one of them where you can tell that they're doing the Hollywood stuff. But I went, it's still more emotional. And one of the things I did like was, I know that they made the movie, and then I think on Amazon you can watch, what is it? All Is Quiet on the Dawn or something like that, which was really good as well. And of course I have to read subtitles. So, but I highly recommend anyone that likes it. It's not All Is Quiet on the Western Front, but it's the Russian one that's during World War II. So it has a bunch of, which I like the very beginning, is it has this wounded soldier whose wife, I think, his wife and daughter, or his son died. Anyway, and so he was wounded and they have him training all these reservists. And he's getting fed up with all the men. He's like, that's it. Stop bringing me these people that drink and blah, blah. Anyway, he gets this anti-aircraft battalion. or of women, and they find out some paratroopers have come in, and so their job is to stop them. And the Russians don't pull any punches as far as like, who dies and who doesn't, and how they die. It's not like, oh, you necessarily die in heroic. I mean, you're like, holy crap. And it's like kind of a main character, like, well, who will make it to the end? You don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you're halfway through the book, so I generally have an idea. I finished it yesterday, and I was sitting in the car, and I'm at, and I just, it's cold as hell. I'm sitting listening to the book. I'm like, okay. And I just, my boss came. I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, listening to a book. He's like, "What book?" He's like, the old Russian one. So yeah, I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" I'm like, no.
What gets me about it is the Russians have suffered so much. They have a really black sense of humor, which is kind of the reason I like the Russian style, which is why I liked Night Watch. Is they don't. That was the problem with Day Watch. Is the character was not super kick ass, and that was kind of what I liked about their stuff. They always make them flawed and tragic, and it's but yeah, I highly recommend anyone that wants to watch stuff like that. Is I always recommend some of the Russian films that actually make it over. I need to watch T-34. Is it T-34? Anyway, there's another one that they had that I watched, which was kind of cool because the whole premise is that there are two tank commanders going at each other that are the Nazis and the Russians, and he gets captured. He says, "Okay, I want you to fight for this." And so what they do is they start. He finds an old tank round in one of the destroyed tanks, and they hide it. And so they only get a certain number, and they break free, and they're trying to escape. And now you can tell where they've brought some stuff up, but I'm like, oh man, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend that one. I'm trying to remember which one it is. Anyway, I'm trying to go through all of them.
There was aspects of God, I can't wait. If you join us tomorrow, that'd be great. If you're able to finish the book in time, because there's a whole lot more I want to say, but I really should just wait. The whole reason why we do the Sunday review is for and I have to say Jack did an amazing job with his book. A solid gold star.
What was the other one that they have? It was this one, and then A Day in the Life of Ivan, which I've never read, Denisovich, which is basically the cut-down version of Gulag Archipelago.
I'll have to look for the Gulag Archipelago.
1 second here. Hey, Connor, can you find the Gulag Archipelago books? I'm just going to warn you, if you're going to try, how you talk about the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same length.
20 hours?
Well, 27, and like 21, because it's in 3 volumes.
I don't hate myself that much. I kind of do.
It only took me 4 years to get through it because, depending on how fast I drive and listen to it at some point.
I'm still going through the Lord of the Rings right now, and it's interesting. They're still dealing with tree beard. The ant mute is going on right now, and
you're in Isengard. You're in the second one, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm in the Two Towers.
Oh, speaking of which, for Russian, which I highly recommend seeing if you can get it, and of course, Amazon now has it with ads. But when I watched it, didn't have any ads. Is to watch Gogol, that series.
Right.
It's kind of cool because Gogol apparently is a Russian writer, and they make it so he has psychometry. So whenever he touches something, he can see stuff.
Oh, like a Dead Zone.
Almost, yeah. Well, I guess I've never seen Dead Zone, but he does that. And what they have this black rider going around killing everyone, and they got witches and ghosts, and it's pretty cool overall. And I was like, oh yeah, why can't we do this? I wish they would do more of it. And to be fair, I did like Penny Dreadful, but I think I like this one better than Penny Dreadful.
No, Dead Zone, Stephen King. I don't have a problem with Stephen King as a whole. I enjoyed most of his books. And Dead Zone, a guy gets into an accident, wakes up with psychic abilities, and whenever he touches something or someone, he sees their future or sees something about them. All right, Rolling Bones, whenever you want to, I'd love to have you on the show, and we can talk about gaming Nashville or gaming and Nashville. I do miss Nashville. Actually, that's not true. I miss. I'm trying to think where that is. Not Antioch, because I don't speak enough Spanish. I'm not trying to be mean. It's a thing. Lebanon, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I believe is the home of Cracker Barrel too.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
No, that never happens to us. We're always 100% right. If you prove us wrong, you're wrong.
Right. Off to the gulag with you.
There's plenty of that in Gulag Archipelago. You listen to it, and it's just some of the things, because they're so crazy, you just have to laugh. Oh my God, it's us. Oh, speaking of which, a little bit different note here, if you don't mind, because I went to the local library here because they had a what was it? They had a game day, and they gave us dice, which was nice.
Wait. Was the dice in a packet on how to build a building?
No, the dice
were just what our local library had.
Oh, okay. Ours just simply had, and they're decent looking dice, but they're the polyhedral dice that were in there. And said it. I everyone that brings out the dice, I'm just gonna give an example of this. So this was like one of the die. No, but I really wish. I don't know about you. I wish they just make the bigger dice. I like these bigger dice. This is about the perfect size to me. Wow. These are so small. Well, no. That's not my big die. These are my Conan dice.
What did I roll? I can't tell. I'm across the street.
Well, there is no cheating at that point. It's not like... And this die actually had a lot of fun. I remember we were doing combat one time. It was like natural 1, natural 20, natural 20. Natural 1. You're like, well, look, you can tell I'm not cheating.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I do like these bigger dice, which are from Cuplo. I just wish they would make more of these. They're just everyone that makes these dice, stop making them so small. As I get older, look, a lot of us are older gamers. Our eyes are failing us.
My eyes have actually gotten better over the years.
Really? Good job.
Yeah. I was slightly not nearsighted, farsighted. Yeah, slightly farsighted. Oh, and over the years, it just like cleared up.
Okay. Well, my mother was farsighted, and so she was complaining. She got older. My vision's becoming terrible. And like, you're at 2020.
It's like every once in a while I have to do the, one of these, push it way out here. But no, over the last about 10 years, my eyesight's gotten slightly better, which my doctor's like, are you sucking the souls out of somebody? All right, got my first spot. That means I'm doing something right.
Oh, my God. Are you even allowed to have one of those now? Yeah, I thought you had to have at least, 500 subscribers or something.
I don't know. Oh, there's another one. No.
Yeah, they're all.
Man. I remember when it was 1-800 numbers.
Oh yeah. Well, there was that one. Then they had the ones where you could call overseas.
Yeah. Error. Must refresh the page. Fuck that. If you click on the bot that's in my chat, that's your own damn fault. Just throwing that out there now.
I know. So I usually have the StreamYard on my tablet, and then I look on my computer. So
it's fine.
Moving back and forth.
God, this week. I don't know. Last couple of weeks have just been weird. I've never got into Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving has never really exactly been my bag. I like the food. I just don't like my... Wait, no, I shouldn't say that line. And off chance my family sees this. never have dug Thanksgiving. I mean, it's like, well, you must like Christmas. I'm like, I could put up with Christmas. It's just more good food, and will go home with the thanks for coming out prize.
Let's see. For me, I'm with you on Thanksgiving. I'm on that same way with Christmas now, which is kind of bad. But part of it is that I would be in school, and as soon as I got time off, I would get sick. So I was sick for years on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it was like, and I mean, it was the kind of thing like, hey, you need to go see the doctor because I couldn't sleep. All the really bad things. This sucks, and it seemed to happen to me every time. And then the other problem was that my mother did not know how to cook a turkey. So, yeah, it was like, oh,
did she put it in the bag?
It doesn't matter. I don't like turkey. This is what I started doing. So, for example, and everyone likes whenever I do Thanksgiving. So, like last year for Thanksgiving, I got oyster mushrooms, mashed potatoes, fresh bread, key lime pie, and a ribeye roast. And you know what? I don't care about leftovers for them. That was the other thing. My mother would come over and so I would starve. It's like, look, you got turkey. I'm like, it's terrible turkey in the first place. And now you're making me eat it for 3 straight days. So I used to lose weight during the holidays. And as we've gotten older, it's been much easier because I'm like, steak never goes to waste. Look, I'll cut it. We can put it in the refrigerator.
Actually, we got some. By the way, I love the thumbtack, the Fianna, not the Fianna. That is the Irish Harp. My bad.
Yeah, cool.
Just wondering if there's any new game systems or game creators you might be into. Actually, it's new to me, but I'm actually digging the Conan book.
Oh, really? Good job. I'm glad to hear that.
I don't want to say I'm spoiled, but I'm used to 3.5 Dungeons Dragons and Pathfinder, so I'm expecting my game systems to be a certain way for me to understand it. And I haven't completely read it from cover to cover, but I've ran like everything you should know, at least to get the head around, at least 4 or 5 times, and I'm digging it. The simplicity of it is actually really cool.
After you guys were playing Index Card RPG.
That's also a really cool one. I enjoyed that.
I don't know. He's talking about new systems. I'm waiting for Frosthaven to come in. I ordered Frosthaven. I'm waiting for that one to come in. I'm also waiting for OSE books. So, of course, I keep on bad-mouthing D.M. James for getting his before. And to be fair, a little side note, since we were talking about pumpkin pie, which I want to go back. I'll come back to the games and game creators. The pumpkin pie, I made pumpkin pie from scratch. I like having it. I found out if I can do it in sous vide in 4-inch mason glasses, that worked really well. Then I take a mason glass, and then I take a torch, and you make that nice little sticky top.
Yeah.
You caramelize the top. That went over very well. It's just a lot of effort for me. Well, that isn't, but I'll tell you this much: for key lime pie, Edwards key lime pie is about as good as you're going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, key lime pie is so simple. I have never tasted anything really better than Edwards key lime pie. You can get something a little bit more tart. I said, well, why don't I just go buy it for $6 or $7 from, here at HEB from the grocery store, bring it home, and we'll be eating that for 2 or 3 days. and everyone's happy. I've never had anyone complain about key lime pie. But I do like pumpkin pie. I do. It was a lot more effort because I made it all the way from scratch. Thanks to my little buddy there.
I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, when you say scratch, you mean can, not like you went to go get your sweet pumpkin pie, sweet pumpkins.
Okay, so, and what I've heard about is it Libby's? Well, yeah. I think it's Libby's that has, they have the
yeah, it's Libby's.
What is it? It's just a pumpkin puree, and then I made everything else from there. And I've heard that is the best that you can get anyway.
Well, yeah, Libby's is based out of Morton, Illinois, which is like 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive from where I live. So yeah, I get to smell pumpkins every so often.
I mean, I like that. Is I've had pumpkin soup, where they don't add any sugar to it and things. Looks like we got a bot again. Oh, come on. But
oh no, I blocked the wrong person.
uh-oh. Can you unblock him?
Oh no. I don't know.
Who did you block?
Multi-gun man.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You'll have to send him a message or something.
I will. I'll have to figure that one out. God bless it.
Okay. But no, I make it with a graham cracker crust. But the sous vide was a lot easier. I just put in the the filling. I put in the filling. Well, I put in the graham cracker crust at the bottom. I put in the filling for the 4 ounce, and then I just covered the top and let it cook. And then after it was done, whenever people were ready to eat, I just flamed the top because I like my pie warm. I don't want the exception of key lime pie is different, but for pumpkin pie, I want warm pumpkin pie. And then I would I'd actually whip the cream until it through whipped cream, and then I would add some either rum or what's the other one in there? Rum and then vanilla and stuff like that. It's a lot more effort than it's worth. I'm like, you know what? It's just like fresh artisan bread. Yeah, I can make that, or I can just go to the local store and buy it. So,
no, I get you. It just really depends on what kind of mood I'm in, how far down the line I'll do. I'm not a big fan of pumpkin pie, just because I'm not a big fan of pumpkin.
I add so many spices to it and everything else, and I'm like, holy moly!
How do you unblock somebody?
Let me go look.
That makes me feel bad.
Yes. Well, and I know it happens every so often. Let's see. Well, okay. Tap on the search icon, right screen. Search the user you wish to unblock, and then type their channel or username and tap the result.
Ever do this on YouTube?
Yes.
All right. Let's all do this together. Yay! So go back to YouTube.
Okay. It says, so YouTube, tap the search icon, and then type in the username.
All right.
And then it should give the little profile, and it says tap on the 3 dots and select unblock user.
Okay. God, I'm sorry, dude. All right. All right, I'm on his page. Where are the 3 dots? Well, I will fix this. I feel bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's.
So if he ends up watching this, or if somebody ends up talking to him later, tell him Cigar the DM is a schmuck. Hey, Victor. And he
Well,
did not mean
on the Discords.
I don't. I always feel bad. It is what it is, and I'll deal with it later. You
can get this with, pies are good. I used to like lemon meringue, but at the end of the day, key lime is still my favorite. It goes over well. We live in the South. We don't mind having, key lime year round. So.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. Who am I thinking? What pie am I thinking? What is my favorite pie? My favorite pie. What is my favorite? I like sweet potato pie.
I thought that sweet potato and pumpkin were almost identical.
No, they're not. They're not.
Well, it was where I was, when I was in Afghanistan. I'm like, oh, it's pumpkin pie, and finally they said, that's sweet potato pie. Oh,
yeah. I like sweet potato. I like sweet potato and ribs. That is probably my best situation. Apricot pie. I never had apricot pie.
No, I mean, all those sound good. I have a couple of apricots I'm waiting for because it's getting cold, but the leaves haven't dropped off my trees yet. So I'm
Right.
getting them out quite yet. And then I'll go ask the farmer who takes care of my land to, he said, yeah, I'll do it for you. So, well, just let me know how much it costs. Like, no, I'll do it for free. So I'll get him to do the auger about 3 feet deep. And then depending on the time of year, and I say time of year, but it depends on the weather and if it's Christmas or not. If I go out there, and I'll just spend several hours and probably Christmas Day trying to plant 20 trees.
Where was I? I was down in Florida and had a margarita pie once, and it was interesting. The crust was pretzels, made out of pretzels.
Interesting. Now I did one with what is it, cardamom? I added some cardamom to the pie, and I go real heavy on it. Has to have all 4 spices to me. It has to have clove, nutmeg, ginger, and what's the other one? Cinnamon. And the problem is, a lot of people don't. They're like, I'll just use 2 spices. Like, if you're using 2 spices, get out. And that went over pretty well. But the key lime, I found, just did the best. Everyone just, especially since everyone gets one, and I'm not like, I like pecans. I don't want them on my pies. I want my pecans to taste salty, not sweet.
Right. Let's see. I don't know. Thanksgiving dinner to me, I mean, I rather have a nice beef roast over a turkey. I don't want ham on Thanksgiving because most likely I'm going to be saddled with it on Christmas, and there's nothing I can do about it. Victor, Victor, do you just want to come onto the show?
well, he says tabletop role playing game. If you go and follow rules as written, Blades in the Dark would probably work really well for the system. Speaking of which, going back to this, is what systems am I looking forward to? Well, I'm looking forward to Frosthaven. And a lot of these things I'm getting are new to me, but they're not necessarily new. I mean, Mutant Crawl Classics, I've enjoyed reading, which is basically 1974 D&D with a few new rules. And then Dungeon Crawl Classics. Both of them are that. The artwork got me a little bit off, and I'm not a huge fan of the modules look, but overall they're okay. Yeah, well, we'll twist your arm there, Victor. He's going to probably say, no, it's 3D. It's 3D. What is it? D&D modern. So he can shill his stuff.
Yeah, it should be in the Discord.
There's some. And I see Will and Bones lives DCC. I would love to play that. I just have not, and that's the problem of me being the other ones I've been looking forward to. And I don't know if you've read any of it. The Monarchies of Mal, Pirates of Pugmire. I'd like to get you guys.
Yeah, I've been trying to look into that game. I got free time. It's just life's kicking me in the nuts right now.
And sometimes when things are coming in, just like when they had Chimerian, I love the ideas. There's just some that are just not for me as a D&D. What I'm saying is I don't want to be the DM. And I think that's like Conan. I don't mind being the DM. DCC, I wouldn't mind being the DM. Pugmire, I was like, oh man, I don't get to be the player since DM James said, oh, you can run it. Damn it. But I don't mind that one. But there's some of them. I'm trying to think of like John Carter of Mars. I wouldn't mind once I understand it. I feel, and it's funny. It's not that different from Conan, but the mechanics are slightly different, and I just don't feel it. I feel it's better for a different GM than me, and I'm trying to think of some other games that are out there that I would love to play. Probably like Rogue Trader or Dark Heresy would be fun, but I don't want to DM them.
Rogue Trader was fun. Dark Heresy was fun. I had the same guy who ran those games for me was the same guy who ran. Oh God, it's that one game and it's completely off the rails. Starts with an E. Oh my God. Where you're basically walking gods.
Hey Victor, how far are you away?
About 1,500, a little bit less.
Okay. All right. Well,
I've got 11 days to go, so
well, I hope that it goes out.
yeah,
I mean, it's not my thing, so don't take any offense that I'm not supporting it. But I hope
that's
that you do,
fine.
because
That's
it takes
fine.
a lot of work. I know the kind of work that goes into that stuff,
Yeah,
especially getting the artwork and I really hope that it makes, just for that reason.
yeah. I'm just a nobody, so I'm just happy if I even just make exactly my goal. Like, I'm not expecting, like, like some Kickstarters where they ask like 5,000 and they make like 500,000. It's like, yeah, I know I'm a fucking nobody, so
So anyone that's not familiar, because it's starting to come out now, Frosthaven is 36 pounds of board gaming goodness, apparently, and that's the core book or the core game. And Gloomhaven was a monster, and that one was 19 pounds. And then, of course, I have Kingdom Monster Death, and that was another monster. And I'm like,
I've
holy!
seen Gloomhaven. I've yet to play it. It looks whelming.
It's what I've heard is if you're going to try it, get Jaws of the Lion first, because it's a better intro, and you can find that at Target. But I'm like, I'll back Gloomhaven. And well, I said, oh, Frosthaven's coming out, and look, you can do an add-on for Gloomhaven for $100. I'm like, okay.
and there goes my money.
Yeah. I mean, the Jaws of the Lion is not nearly as heavy, but I've heard that that's the better way to go for introductory into Gloomhaven.
Right.
And if you enjoy that, and I've heard that one just clicks. It seems like it's a better way to enter it, and if you like that one, then go for the full. Otherwise, save $50 or whatever it is, and we'll see. I'm still trying to decide if I want to get Temple of Elemental Evil.
I can't, as of right now, get my daughter into gaming per se, but I can get her into going to go to the movie theater with me, which it's a win for me because, yeah, it's $40. Well, after everything is said, that's 40. It's like maybe $12 for the tickets and the rest on popcorn and soda, which is like $20, which is a freaking rip. But I'm sorry, popcorn and soda is not that damn expensive.
Well, I know that they're trying to make money, and I don't mind them for trying to make money. I don't, but you can always do what other people do, especially since you're up in Illinois. You can wear those really heavy coats, and you can put like a big drink here and over there. And the problem I have is like it's not really worth it until you get like the $5 drink or whatever, like the mega one that's like 72 ounces. It's just like,
but you're gonna spend like 80% of the movie in the bathroom fucking pissing. Anyways.
Well, you just grab one of those and you share it with your daughter, and the same thing with like the giant, like if you get the smaller levels of popcorn, and then you get like the super huge popcorn. Like, well, I just grabbed one of these, and this should be enough for us, for 2 days.
Oh my God, I'm not trying to have one of those proud daddy moments, but my daughter puts enough butter on the popcorn where my ass turns into a slip and slide. It's just. All right, I'm not getting my own popcorn because I would like to see this movie.
I just want real butter. That's my only requirement, not this fake butter. Just let me put on real,
Oh, she tried to smuggle butter into like a stick of butter.
Yeah.
All my American friends think I'm really weird for that. I don't like my popcorn salty. I like kettle corn. I like the caramelized popcorn. The salty stuff is disgusting, and all my American friends think I'm like a weirdo for that.
Okay, so to be fair, I never understood the people who like kettle corn, but it's your body, your choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it should be salty.
I think some is what you grow up on. But
it's like watermelon.
Well, I'm also weird though because when it comes to like French toast, I don't like mine with like powdered sugar and stuff like that. I put salt on mine. I like my French toast savory. So I'm just fucking all over the place, I
guess. Powdered sugar. I'll get back to that.
Well, speaking of which, I'm going to go back for since we'll get back to food here. I just saw James L. talk about the DCC dice. It's true, but I'm going to go. but you don't have to use them. That's number one. Number two is the DCC fan kit. If you can get that, that is a fantastic deal. At least here in the U.S. I bought it. Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. Oh, he's gonna yell at me.
Hey, buddy.
Well, no, I mean,
Hey, my dad, leave me alone.
yeah, exactly. He's at that age. Stop
I'm the
it. I
weasel.
don't want to do this. He's 13. But no, I got the DCC dice. Let me see if I can go find them. But I know that James Ellis this. Keep taking it full English in the fight.
James also joined because I miss his big Australian face.
Hey, if he wants to join, I'm not going to say no.
I haven't talked to him in a while, so yeah, he should join.
We haven't talked in a while. I've just been kind of MIA except for my weekly responsibilities.
Yeah, I've been kind of MIA on like multiple streams myself.
Oh,
I dropped in on DM James's stream earlier, and he was like, "Oh, I haven't seen Victor in a while. I thought he hated me." It's like, no, I've just been busy, and you're probably shadow banned because YouTube doesn't alert me when you stream. So,
well, here's part of it though, and I'm going to say this: if you get the Mutant Crawl Classics DCC kit, this is normally a $30 hardback. You only pay $30 plus shipping. So I'm like, wait a minute, you mean I get this? I'm sorry, the book says $40 in the back, but if you get the first time fan kit, you get the hardback book, the dice, and a screen, which the screen's kind of crappy, and then the couple of adventures. And I was like, this is a great deal. So anyone that really is interested in that, get the DCC fan kit. If you get the one for DCC, because they've got one for MCC and they have one for DCC. The one for MCC is a fantastic deal. The one for DCC, you get the soft cover, which I gave to my. Just because the dice were so expensive and everything else, I'm like, well, why don't I just buy the first time fan kit and that'll work. But yeah, the dice, they just throw in different dice. But if you can get impact dice, one of these die glows in the dark. So
nice.
I don't like solid colors, but some of them are kind of cool. I mean, I'm going to pull out the 30. They're not fair dice, but that's okay. But like that one's pretty nice. That's the 30. I don't know if that's the 24.
D30, D24. Okay.
Yeah, they use weird dice.
Yeah.
They've got a D14.
Yeah, I've never played DCC or MCC. I should probably try it sometime.
If you like OSE, that's the way to go. If it, I mean, that's I look at it. Hello, James. How's your back?
You shaved.
Not bad. I kind of ganked it a bit today doing housework, but it has to be done. I have to live in a clean house. I can't be around mess. Yeah.
I only get the urge to clean when I'm hungover for some reason.
You know what?
Stoned.
That's why your house is spotless.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always hungover. That's my secret.
Actually, my favorite is the house gets clean whenever I have a date, and I've just given up on women. So there's that aspect, and then the other aspect is that whenever family comes over, whenever I entertain, for the most part, like when family comes over, my son came over and we had to clean the bathroom, and he does a really good job. I mean, it's funny because my parents come on like, well, we'll help clean now, and so they're all and so then my son was cleaning up the house, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I love you, buddy.
Well, my girlfriend is like naturally very chaotic and messy, and I run this place like Stalag 13 because having kind of been a sort of semi-spinal for like 5 years, it's just kind of one of my ways of dealing with it, really. Like just having a nice, clean environment where I can find things.
Question.
It's Australia. I don't think anything is ever truly clean.
No, it's always a little bit dirty.
If you ran the train system, would it be on time?
Most of the time, yeah.
How many times a week do you have to take the flamethrower to your house to get all the spiders and shit out?
Oh my god! I encountered a giant huntsman the other week, and like I just kind of psychically know when a spider is in the room because I'll turn around and it's there. Like
it's just stabbing at you.
So he has a literal spider sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing was
I think every Australian has that.
And I sprayed the hell out of it with like outdoor like heavy duty, and it just made it so angry.
Aren't they supposed to be harmless? I see
No.
hold them in hands.
Yeah, but they're so big and ugly and terrifying, and if they bite you, you will get sick. Like you'll probably throw up for an evening. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna die though.
While you squeezing it? I mean,
my cousin, my cousin last year decided that he was going to try to make some extra money by going feral pig extermination, right?
Yeah.
And this is like his first couple days on the job. He pulls out his gun, he sees one, and he takes a shot, dead center, not not heart, not lungs, dead center. And he's like, "All right, I'm there. I take my shot." Da da da! It hits the pig, and the pig just stares at me.
Yeah.
That's when I knew I needed a bigger caliber.
Big is scary, dude.
What was he using?
I have no idea. I
maybe like a
hopefully not
22 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this is what I mean. I was thinking, maybe 357 or something, because I know someone. Because I talked to one guy. He had a 45. He put 7 rounds into a pig's head before it dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, those. Yeah, that's right. Well, they're functionally bulletproof. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I started. Like, this is why you get a 300 Win Mag.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really much of a gun guy, but if I was, I would probably tend more towards like very small caliber, like hunting rifles and carbines and stuff like that. Yeah. They're a lot easier to own here as well. Like there's less drama.
Don't get me wrong. I love my 22s. They're cheap. They're fun to fire and everything else. But here's the difference. I can get high grade, or at least I used to. I used to be able to get high grade target ammo, like Olympic caliber, for 50 cents a bullet.
Yeah.
For me to get my normal, again, we're talking like sniper grade ammo, but not the super grade, just enough so it's one MOA, which is what you need. That was $1.25. And I said, why am I just not going for the 22? And then if I really need it, go get the hunting round in there. But no, Ball and Bones is right. I know people that actually do that. A
lot of people make their 22 ammo here. Like it's just less of a hassle.
Okay. This is the same cousin who he's an avid bow hunter. I mean, he puts me when me and him are doing target practice, he puts me to shame. And he's like, this is the same cousin that is like, well, I put my name in the lottery to go up to up north Alaska to go bear hunting for the Kodiak on Kodiak Island. And he wants to go bear hunting because he thinks that is the truest test of mankind is to go bear hunting with a freaking bow. He's like, you're going to go with me, right? I'm like, no. No.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is one bad ankle.
Yeah, I can't outrun him.
I'd probably bring some backup, like, just in case.
I looked into it.
Like, go medieval, sure, but like bring the camera crew with you.
He's the only person that can shoot the bow at the target. No one else can. You have to be within like 30, 40 yards of a Kodiak bear for it to actually make.
That's great.
There's just the no list is bigger than. Well, let me think about this list.
That's how Vic just switches off his bedside table light.
Well. See, he has to make sure that he has that locked up. There's all sorts of weird rules in Europe. They're like, well, you have to lock it up. I'm like, if someone's coming in my house, I don't need to go into the thing. I just need to be able to pull it out. But no. The other thing is, do you have a silencer on that one, there, Victor?
What? Sorry?
Do you have a silencer on that one?
Oh no, it's a flash hider, and it's the same one from the FN Mag machine gun.
Okay, well, the reason I was asking is I know Europe, it's considered polite to use a silencer.
In certain countries, it's required. I think in Spain, it's legally required to have a suppressor on your.
That's nice.
Well, I'll tell you this much, because when I went shooting, with Rex Tybor. I did the very first class that they did for long range shooting, and we had a guy, and the people who had the muzzle brakes, I hate them with an intense passion. But the people who had silencers, oh my God, thank you. It is so much nicer for everyone around you. It is a courtesy aspect. And this whole idea that people are like, oh my God, you got a silencer. It's still a damn loud gun, okay? But it's a courtesy aspect that I don't have to worry about losing my hearing if I just pop off this. Anyway, people forget about that.
I don't think I've ever even shot a gun, but if I fulfill my dream of like having a victory garden slightly further away from the city center someday, I probably would get some kind of pea shooter for like taking out beer cans and scaring off pests and that sort of thing. Just I really would just want something like to wave around, basically.
I see Victor has that. I mean, I have it, and to be fair,
that's nice.
I have an AR-10. I have a lever action 22. I have a small bolt action 22 for my son. I have a 22 target pistol. I have 45, and plus whatever else my father's going to give me. Even though we were discussing, it's like, well, son, look, Dad, it's.
You can really learn to shoot with a bolt action as well. Like,
I like bolt actions a lot better, actually.
Yeah.
When it comes to guns, I've looked into getting a pump action shotgun. Even if there is no ammo in said gun, the whole puts most people aware of what's about ready to happen.
Well, you just fill it with rock salt, Connor.
Well, here's the thing: is if someone's coming to your house, I'm not trying to wound them, and I don't mean this in a bad way. It's like,
sure.
and there's going to be a little bit different that people forget about. First thing is I'm going to yell, okay, and this is why when I hear people, oh, you shoot them. No. Look, if someone breaks in my house and they hear me yell and then they run out of the house, I don't give a damn. There's nothing in my house I can't replace for the most part, except my child and myself. Everything else is just things, But if they hear my voice and they stay, they're not there to do good things. They're not there to rob me. They're there to actually do me harm. And at that point, game on.
I get that. Like I said, I'm a bow guy. I don't have a gun. I've been thinking about just getting a shotgun. At the same time, I've looked at some of the things you can get put into shotguns as ammo, and that kind of makes me giggle.
Yeah.
What? You could just get, and this is a light one.
You get a nasty burn on your backside from like rock salt.
Oh yeah, but I'm not trying. Again, I'm not trying to hurt people, but this is the whole thing, which is, this is exercise equipment, and this is twice as heavy as a combat mace. So,
Jesus.
Well, this is a 7-pounder. This is considered a light mace, generally for women.
Right.
The 15 is supposed to. Which, to be honest, as I get older, I'm like, look, I can't do that, but. As I get older,
as you get older, I mean, it becomes more about the stretching, really, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
Well, I still want some strength on me, but those are the things that come into it, and I'm just like, all right, and I'm not really too worried about it. I used to live right above a police officer, and there are like 4 police officers in my apartment complex. So if I call, people are coming pretty fast.
God,
we've had a lot of break-ins around here, but we're like, my partner works from home most of the time. I'm home most of the time, so it's not really. I'm like always in my yard, basically. So doing something.
Well, here's the interesting.
What we do with those spiders around.
well, see that's why he wants the rock salt.
Yeah.
The whole thing that I've looked at is. Like I used to do when I got bored at work, I used to do crime statistics, which was outside of work. But and the sad thing is, I'm still the most efficient person. But I used to grab crime statistics from Europe and the United States and compare them. And generally, what you'll find out is the United States has a lower crime rate, with the exception of murder, than than most.
It's funny. This past, and I'm not trying to. This past 2 weeks ago, we had what we call here in the States a midterm election. on one side, I'm not going to say which side, all I heard was this wave of crime across America. And I went to like a website that was fairly biased. They, and I'm like, no, actually, crime's down.
Actually,
crime is down overall, except in specific cities.
Yeah,
if you live in a major city,
but those cities aren't Republicans. Let's just say that.
I'm going to bring it this way. It depends on the type of crime and how it was recorded, which is what I was looking at. And so, for, like England, you have assault or you have assault with injury. Well, you can't compare that directly to the United States for the most part because there's slightly different definitions. But I said, okay, I'm going to do assault with injury with aggravated assault, which are.
I was going to say that's battery charges. Okay.
I mean that's the difference is aggravated assault and that, and you'll find out that England's got like 2 or 3 times much. It's the murder rate, and some of it's just because most of the murders here in the United States are by handguns. That's why whenever I start hearing, going, oh my God, rifles, and I went, why are you trying to ban rifles? Because rifles are not the problem. No. Yeah, it does happen every so often, and don't get me wrong about it, but there's that aspect. But
was it Idaho? Moscow, Idaho. Did you hear about what happened there with the college students?
Oh yeah, with the knifing. Oh
yeah.
Well, I was in Chicago, and I'll be honest. You can look at Chicago, or at least I used to have the crime map, and it would be like green, yellow, red, and you can find out exactly where the really bad areas are. Which is, and my friend went in a lot of those areas looking for homeless people, but. There are certain things I'm not used to, having lived in smaller cities, where you go like, okay, look, there's some crime rate. Most of the murders, generally people knew each other. It just tended not to be random. But yeah, it was like, holy crap. It's like 33 times the rate that it is where I live in Chicago. And in those little small areas, it's like 100 or 200 times greater to get murdered than where I live.
Jeez.
Crime statistics get manipulated a lot. There was like this big scandal over here in the Netherlands where they released the crime statistics when it came to like immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this category called other. So other crimes. And then it turned out those other crimes included rapes and murders. But they just put them in other so they wouldn't have to like admit it was rapes and murders.
Well,
basically.
Well, Chicago had theirs as well. I mean, and that's the problem I have with any of it is you're looking at.
I think if you're going to integrate as many people as Europe is trying to do, you really have to go the American route and like make them flag waving civic nationalists.
But over here that's considered like bigotry.
Well,
no, you've got to make them like, I am proud to be America. I drive taxi, a very good time.
That's what worked for America for the longest time, but literally over here, it's like no, they don't even have to speak the language.
I go to Hooters. I have best time. I have a crunchy fry.
Hey, James L. That's true, but that's not what they're trying to do. That's if you have legal immigration, which is what they were trying to do before. But even when I was in Germany, we're talking in the 90s, early 90s, they were having problems with the Kurds because. Yeah. The idea really was at that time, we're bringing in workers, and then when we don't need them anymore, they go home. Well, that's awfully easy to say in the 1970s. By the time the 1990s were coming about, and they would always protest Turkey because a lot of them were Kurds. And then I saw a lot of it with the Bosnian stuff. And I'll be honest, it's not that I usually hang out, but in Germany, I saw someone get beaten with a baseball bat down the subway. So another girl. There's a lot more crime when it just comes to big cities. That's whether it's anywhere. And how many times?
If you're gonna take people whose culture is very like chauvinistic and maybe a little bit adversarial to kind of Western way of doing things, you really got to kind of instill a bit of like civic duty into them and a bit of like nationalism and a bit of like sense of like the social contract goes both ways. Kind of thing,
That works.
No, but it's the complete opposite over here. Like,
but
because otherwise you're just setting yourself up for exploitation.
That was the way it used to be. They've been changing that. I mean, if you listen to the media and everything else, oh my God, you can't expect them to assimilate. And I went, assimilate to a culture. I mean, what idiots are these people? Yeah, okay, I was an American in Iraq and Afghanistan, but I did it if I wanted to stay as and not be an American, or if you leave the whole thing.
Well, you would have lived the local way, more or less,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you'll
Yeah.
learn the language. You try to learn the language. You try learning
Yeah.
the customs. You try being polite and respectful. I mean, these are all normal things. And this idea that, like Victor's talking about, the West is trying to get rid of Western values. It's the politicians, and I think that happens in Australia. I mean, looking at it, I have never seen so much where they attack freedom of speech. These were things.
Well,
that
Australia is another one of those countries that's like, it's quite neoliberal, capitalist, but the social culture is woke, and it's a kind of policing. It's like it's the worst of left-wing politics and the worst of like right-wing politics, basically.
Well, Australia's basically like the west coast or the east coast of the US. There's like a couple of cities that are like very left-wing, and they basically like run the place. And then there's like some people in the desert.
The rest of it is like Texas, basically.
Yeah. The rest of them are like rednecks in the desert who live like underground, and they're like, oh crikey.
I love how people bash Illinois for being a Democratic state, very liberal state. I'm like, it's just Chicago. Most of the rest
depends on the kind of Democrat you are. Like if you're a Bruce Springsteen Blue Dog Democrat, we probably have more in common than like
they don't exist
with Republicans.
Anymore. They don't exist.
Yeah, but anymore. I mean that world. That's what I identify as like a positive kind of left-wing politics. But you're not even permitted. You're not even permitted that anymore. You know what I mean? Because it requires a baseline of patriotism and masculinity to work.
Well, it's here's the thing: is everyone's looking at like the 1980s. It has gone up to the point that when you look at Dave Rubin and a lot of other names over here, they're basically joining the Republican Party because the Republican Party is the only one that's kind of willing to even accept things. And that's the problem that I have with it is I like a good, robust debate, but no one wants to have the debate. They all want to scream and yell and say you're a bad person. And that's what amazes me. And I hate saying it, the politicians all over the West are all identical. That's what amazes me on that. It's like, look, I remember being in Germany in the 90s, and I said, look, I don't want the United States to be Europe. If these people want to change that so much, let them go over to Europe, okay? And let them live over there, and then we'll stay here. And I find it interesting is she was liberal.
It's a different.
We lost you, James.
And it's so dictated by the land as well, and like what's available. Like in America, everything's far away from everything else, and you have to travel by car. But consumer goods are really cheap, and then services are very expensive. And then in Europe, it's like the other way around, where like people don't have a lot of material possessions or land or space or any of that.
Yeah. Everything was expensive in Germany.
Oh fuck, man! Like, don't even talk to me about that shit. Like, fucking gross. I haven't eaten a good piece of meat in like months, probably, because like they went up in price like 3 times as much as it used to be. Like a little bit of like ground beef. That used to be the poor people food over here. Like ground beef. Like fucking rich people wouldn't fucking touch that shit. Now it's like a little bit of ground beef is like 4 or 5 euros. Like fuck that shit.
Victor, I had an idea for a game, and I wanted to talk to you about it. I wanted to talk to all of you guys about it, actually.
Sure.
Sorry, Victor. Just gotta flex here.
Because I think you all, have like quite a good contribution you can make. So the other day I was thinking, what if we did a rule book called the Compilation Album, and like every grognard that we know submits a 2-page game with 1 page of like lore and artwork. Doesn't matter whether it's an RPG or a war game or what scale it is or whether it uses pennies or miniatures or nothing at all. But like everyone we know submits like a different kind of game. It can be a scenario, it can be a general set of rules, whatever. And we'll compile them all and we'll call it the Compilation Album and put it out as like a wargaming RPG journal.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah.
I mean, that would be...
Everybody I know, like, you guys argue about mechanics and versions, and I'm just like, each of you has, like, one good 2-page game in you, like, surely.
I'm going to bring this up because this was years ago when I was a kid, and I was trying to get different war games. And it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I can really get one. I'm not saying that you can't get a decent war game in there. I'm not. But even like my Conan book is still like 30 pages just for rules, and it's not that hard of a game. I mean, I finally
even an RPG scenario where you just have like 3 characters and you're like plotting around it. It doesn't have to be. It just has to be a game, basically.
Do you ever remember playing Dungeon?
Like the isometric computer game.
No. I'm talking about the board game years ago. I think it was called Dungeon. I think it may have been made by TSR or Hasbro, but basically you played either an elf, fighter, magic user. Anyway, you can play one, and your idea was to get who could get in and out with the most gold, and each one had a different ability. And I think it used like the pieces from Sorry. If you've seen the little, anyway, it's not too bad. I'm not disagreeing with you that we could all get stuff, but with the exception of Victor, I actually like some things, but I just saw actually going back to role-playing games, I just saw the thing for War of the Lance or whatever it is that they're going to come out with.
Oh, 5e.
Yeah, and I felt what a disappointment. And where's the setting? Where's the thing that really gets people into the game? I mean, if you look at it, and I know Max talks about the original books used to have, and to be fair, they also had smaller font. Used to be a wealth of the things. So even if you didn't want to do it, you felt like, wow, I can be part of this world. You read it, and it's like, hey, we're going to put a little bit of the skeleton, and good luck, go buy whatever books were. And I mean, it feels like such a letdown.
All those people that used to write that stuff, they were like the mega nerd white autistic people, and those are canceled now. Those aren't like, those aren't the current thing. You have to have a blue-haired, vaguely brown person who with pronouns, and they fucking don't know what they're doing. They don't have any cool ideas. They're like all the old school cool ideas. They're canceled now. Those aren't.
The only thing that I think that they've taken from inspiration from like the kind of chainmail era, like going back to like the real start, is just to make everything as generalist as possible, right? Like,
and to be fair, a lot of anyway, sorry, go ahead, James. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, it just seems like they've really leveled out everything in D&D now, so that it's just the most general RPG that people can kind of project whatever onto. Like,
I don't mind that, but if you're going to do a setting, like to me, that's what your 3 core books were. Here, we're throwing this in there. You don't get anything. Okay, fine. I'm all for that. Or the core 6 books.
Well, Dragonlance is a bit cheesy, but I adore it. Like, I think it's fantastic. Like, such a growing up reading that was just such a wholesome way to spend time. And I formed a real affinity for the characters. So, I mean, I wasn't really curious about it because I'm kind of on a moratorium on new rule sets for a little while, but
I should be. Oh my God!
There's some things you buy because you'll just enjoy reading it, or you think, oh, that's kind of really more of a research thing or something I might like to try. But it gets to a point where you're like, whose book collection is this? This doesn't even necessarily represent my taste, So
right.
I'm going to say I did that with Mutant Chronicles. I know Shadow and Sun loves it, but it was so darn cheap. I said, my God, it's cheaper than if I actually paid for just blank paper. It was. I mean, I'm not kidding. If you've seen it, and maybe, well, you know what? I'll bring it.
I nearly bought just the lore books, just the lore, because I wasn't really interested in another rules. Like, I just don't even. I haven't even played a game of Traveller yet online with the people who are kind of making noise about wanting to do that. So I'm just trying to put one foot in front of this.
Math nerds. No.
well, people seem to do stuff with it. Like, they don't just seem to play it as it is, but
Oh no, I played Traveler. I'm just joking. Traveler's
If
cool.
I
Yeah.
played Traveler, if I ran a Traveler campaign, it would be Spaceballs, and I'd
Yeah.
find a way to make it work. And I'd
The
probably
other
piss
thing
a
is-
few people. It's like, well, you need to take this a little bit more serious. I'm like, it's a game. Why? You
You would
know?
have to put on a couple
Well,
of
you
dog
do.
ears though, and like the little mark over one of your eyes.
Yeah. The search
yeah,
for
you got to have
more
animal.
money.
You've got to have animal aliens because that's the best lazy form of alien
Yeah.
there is. Like a lion,
Yeah,
man. Like
And
why
you can
not?
fuck them.
I actually like the travel rules. To me, if you're going to
Yeah.
get it,
Well, it
focus
depends on the
on
traveler.
2300 AD is the one that I think is the better for the setting.
Right.
23, and that's just a personal thing. I don't like it when you start getting really high tech levels, but that puts you around tech level 12, which is familiar but still above. I like that. I liked the travel. The travel rules are very simple. I can understand why Shauner likes them. I really do. But the other thing is to get the companion. After you get those 3 books, you can get other stuff. You can get High Guard. You can get a lot of the the robot one, the companion. I mean, you can start adding, but really, the core Traveler book and the companion and the good set.
I just have the core PDF, and I'm probably just gonna buy the hardcover because I have so many sci-fi novels that I need to read that I know I'll get bits and bobs from, like in terms of ideas for.
I've been reading this
Stuff to
sci-fi
try.
series called The Strange Company, and it's basically the Black Company but in space. If you know the Black Company,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, you know, the
Oh
Fat
yeah,
series.
Yeah.
But it's in space,
Glenn-
and it pretty much reads like a Gonzo Traveler campaign. It's fucking amazing. Like it's made me actually want to play Traveler. Like it's awesome.
Glenn
So
Close.
if you ever get a chance, read The Strange Company. There's 2 books out right now. It's awesome.
So right
Well,
now,
Blake Seven made me want to play Traveler. That's what
You know,
I'm doing.
it's really quick. I'm actually kind of surprised. It always amuses me whenever somebody else brings up Glenn Cook's novel, Black Company, because there for a while I thought I was like the only dumb son of a bitch that ever read it.
Oh no, the Black Company rules.
No, it's great.
I never read
And
it.
this is, like I said, basically the Black Company in space. It's like a complete homage to the Black Company. Like it even has
Right.
like similar like naming conventions for the characters and stuff. So yeah, it's awesome.
So
Is there an emo? Elmo, I
But
mean,
yeah, D&D is just a bit bland, isn't it? Really, like
Yeah.
it
it's just kind of
depends on your
bland. It
D-
doesn't have flavor like some of the other
I
games.
I want to make the argument depends on the DM.
Yeah, that's lots of flavor. That's dripping it. That's like mozzarella. Like level.
I'm going to bring up, when you talk about D&D, it's not that I'm against it. It's just the problem that I have with it is the settings are really what made some of it. And I did enjoy, as it gets more and more into it, and I kind of liked 5e when I first played it. I really did. I'm sorry, Connell. Am I cutting you off and I should just shut up? Okay.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Anyway, I like the OSC because it's so simple, and I think that's the problem that you're starting to get into. It is now they have made so many different options in D&D, and I'm not saying third party. That's one thing, but it's made it just the base game. It's one thing when I say, hey, look, you know what? We can use the player's handbook and something else, but man, the getting the players to agree to stuff and trying to get it, and you just go, it's not as, even my friend who's a huge 5e lover is kind of going, he's getting bored of it because just designing encounters aren't that much fun for him. And that's
when you make everyone kind of the same, more or less, even like it takes the contours of meaning out of it a little bit.
From a play of being a paid DM, putting everybody on the same foot, on a first foot part, is actually more. What's the word I want to use? A little bit more better for the game, because no one can say at a shop that a DM is playing favors. No, everybody starts the same. Milestones. ... Let's just continue. It's not. The game should never be about your character. It should be about the story. And if everybody is not cookie cutter, but similar enough, then it's not, well, my character is better than yours. It's, let's work out the story. And that's kind of what I push when I DM.
Okay, I'm going to bring up a little bit different, which is, and I'm not against it. I know that Shadow and Sun's like, no, you have to have a different look. We have to understand where D&D came from. D&D came from an area where the assumption was is you had a round robin of characters coming in every different night, because that's what it was. Is you may have multiple characters, but you come in the night. The expectation is you would go out into the dungeon and come back within one adventure. You would have retainers. There's a lot of different things and it came from the war game aspect. But when you begin to understand you're not playing with the same group every day or every game, then you do need different experience points, and not everything has to be balanced. That's the way that they were supposed to do with the experience, so they weren't balanced. But I don't, I remember Crafty getting on to you for this, and I said, hold on, guys, and I know that I sometimes go with Shadow is. I really don't care if you all advance at the same rate or not. I don't play with competitive players anymore. The older I get, our goal is to create a story, not who's getting ahead and who isn't. And I think it's a different mentality in certain aspects. Like you're talking about, it's a lot easier for me to design something if I know everyone's about the same level. But the one thing I don't like, I guess this is what, correct me if I'm wrong here, James, is that they're trying to balance characters out up to the point that they lose their flavor, whereas I kind of like the niche aspect, which I understand why 5e didn't do that, because they're assuming that not everyone is playing with 6 to 8 characters. But
like in Beckme or whatever, it's so like the choice is quite limited, but like each character has a role to play and room to kind of grow within that. I mean, the thing is, like, the other sort of grief that I have with RPGs in general is that every time I buy the books and get into the idea of playing something, everybody moves on to something else.
Well, you're talking about these things. I have so many books in there that I've never played, but I've enjoyed reading. And as much as that and part of it is I like doing math and I like doing the imagination. So as long as you're doing that, I read them for fun. It's just like anyone out there that's looking for Traveler. They have it on Drive-Thru RPG, but they don't have the books. I think that players really, or DMs should be getting. Get the core book, get the companion, because I read the companion, because the companion allows you to really broaden out with luck and there's morale. There's like 4 different optional stats in there that really make it different. And Connell and I were discussing a little bit with Conan earlier. It is very freeing, and for me to do it, to just run it, and the players don't feel like I'm just cheating. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to add an encounter, or I'm going to add more minions, and I just start taking out the Doom Bowl. It doesn't feel like they're going, oh, you're cheating us out of this, because I felt that way of like, what do you mean the reinforcements came in? They didn't have time. But if there's a mechanic for it, well, you know what? 4 minions, and they're like, oh man, and I like that aspect to it, or all of a sudden they go first. But to me, it's freeing in that aspect, and I don't have to do it. If you do a trap, all I have to do is take a certain number out of the bowl and say, okay, this trap comes in, and it feels very Conan-esque in that way. Where Conan's running through, and all of a sudden, the trap comes up and grabs his leg, which is I think Red Nails, and Red Nails comes up, traps him with his leg, and he has to try breaking out of it before he gets killed. It has that feel, and I think Conan works better with a small group. D&D really does need a larger group to well, at least the old editions.
I'm still kind of pumped to get the Hyperborea books at some stage as well.
My local not the game shop I work at, but my local game shop has, I don't know if it's all the Conan books, but they have a wide selection. I'm like, I'm going to be poor.
For Conan, I'm going to say this: if you have not the Hyperborea, which reminds me of Thundar, but I haven't really looked into it, or it reminds me of DC meets MCC, which I think would both work out. And there's different games that are going through it. That's the one thing I think that works with MCC and DCC is they got a 0 level funnel. So you really do go from like base level and work your way up. I think the problem that I have with a lot of the games, and we all do this, is D&D is like a power gamer. Oh, I want to move up, and what do I get next level? What do I get next level? I would rather play a skill-based system. So I'm looking at it and go, well, you know what? I can save my experience for a long time, or I can get, or I can get this at level 1. So you always feel like you're growing, and if you're not growing, it's because you didn't want to spend points somewhere else. And I think that
it's just I like the concept of leveling, even if it takes, it's not the Pathfinder or D&D, but that's like what the one thing kind of turns me off, and I think it's Traveler that does this. That once you make your character, you're done. There's no more advancement. There's no nothing. And that character is going to get boring to me really fucking quick.
I have some breaking news. Donald Trump is back on Twitter.
Oh, holy crap! Now what are we going to do?
Yeah, the world's going to end. No,
I'm going to ask you a question. Have they again changed the little bird to orange?
But you said something, James, earlier that was interesting. Like whenever you get into a new game, people move on to a different game. That's why I think the OSR is so awesome, because it's all pretty much compatible. So like somebody was telling me earlier, like there used to be this thing on Google Plus back when everyone played on there. There was like this understanding that if you had like a game in one like OSR system, you could just bring it over to another OSR system if somebody was like running it.
I didn't really understand that until recently. Like that only just kind of clicked with me when I got the Osric book.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is just like a more readable OD&D, right?
Yeah.
I really like Adventurer Conqueror King. I hope someone out there is keen to play that at some point, because I really like the kind of it's kind of like Beck Me Plus. There's still that kind of Byzantine influence. Just like with Mystara, you get a little bit more room to move in terms of like classes and stuff like that. And there's like a high fantasy supplement that I have as well that's quite good. But Axe is like quite nice because it's just a little bit more, but not so much on the buffet plate that you can't make a choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
To me, there's so many great games. As much as everyone complains about stuff, and I know Max gets mad with Day. Well, you know what? OSC is going to have Day because it's written by an Irishman.
Right. Yeah.
So shut the hell up about that. It's fine if you want to talk about it. And then the Chicago style, and I hate saying this, is, there's fine if you think that people hate you. But, normally you have to go, is this the distributor that hates you? Or if it's the actual writer. Now, if it's the actual writer, I understand that. But the distributor, I hate saying it, most of us would sell out. You going to sell my goods? Are you going to distribute them? Okay, I'll be a little whore. You can have it, and I'm just going to. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but that's kind of the way, because I would rather get it out, and then if it
back to what you were saying about competitiveness versus like cooperative approach to games. I think even with war games, and it's maybe because I play so many solo like hex games and stuff like that, but I'm more interested in like telling a story as well. Like I don't really care that much about the outcome as long as interesting things happen, like. And even if I end up doing some like battle reports or whatever, I really want to avoid that. Oh, okay, I'm rolling a 4 now. Like, I would rather like cut it down to like describing it in terms of movements of troops and like heroic actions and that sort of thing. Like.
So I don't know if you've seen it, but she used to do fantastic stuff, and she's gotten away from it because I know it takes a lot of time. Was Wargamer Girl when she did her war game stuff? Her things were fantastic. One is to understand the rules. Number 2 is it sped it along. And I was like, I enjoyed watching those when she would do them. Now she got away from it because I know it's a lot of work. The other one is anyone that's watched Mage's Musings and his stuff.
Okay.
If you watch him and doing his little role playing stuff, and it's somewhat tongue in cheek, and it's like and completely.
I hear good things about his. I hear good things about his channel. Actually,
well, what's great about it is he says contrived entrance, and like your character dies, and then you have contrived entrance, and so appears, and then like onion bun steals and then runs away, and then contrived entrance. The player's second character comes in, and I went, okay, and that's kind of.
Well, when he was on as a guest, like I mean, I assume he's kind of a similar age to most of you guys, which is just like
Yeah, I think he's the same.
slightly older than me, just slightly. And his tastes and stuff are like really on point, and he's got a good sense of humor and stuff like that. So yeah, I should actually check it out. I mean, like I said, I'm more of a wargamer. I kind of realized the other day one of the reasons why I love fantasy wargaming so much is its elements of like classical warfare, Dark Ages warfare, Renaissance warfare. But instead of like artillery and special units, you've got RPG characters and monsters. You know, like it's fantastic.
You know what though, and this is the thing, and I understand why they did it because to sell miniatures, but the old Rogue Trader 40K was my favorite because you start off with a small war band, and the same thing happened with, and that's why I would like to see what your opinion is on the 5 parsecs from home or 5 leagues from the borderlands. Just I've seen people talk about it, but they're solo RPGs. They sort of go in and you do your little upgrades, but you know, there is something to be said when you have 4 guys on your board that you're using to protect. Is you kind of project yourself onto them, and you can see where the RPG comes from. But when I have massive aspects, and I don't, you know, some of it, and I like my old Star Frontiers. I'm happy using chits, or that's why I laugh at Mage's Musings. Mage's Musings does this. He talks about his miniatures. They're basically on a 8.5 by 11. He uses scissors to cut them out, and then he folds them over. Or what was the other one that's called? Is Skinny Minis. Skinny Minis does another one too.
You can do amazing stuff with papercraft. Like if I was a kid now and I didn't have any, like if I had the same wargaming budget I did then, I would be printing those out and like sticking them to wooden blocks and like putting a bit of texture on the base, like basing them like normally. Like
what's wrong with your little Lego minifigs? Use your Lego minifigs for your combat.
Well,
I've thought about
adults made Lego prohibitively expensive, didn't they? Like,
I thought about using Legos as maps before for Dungeons and Dragons.
Ooh, wow.
There's some amazing stop motion Lego like battle scenes from Lord of the Rings on YouTube, and like historical battles as well. And the amount of like thought that's gone into them, they look great. Like, incredible.
I mean, what I'm just saying is, the old days, and to be fair, we have a lot more money nowadays. Some of us. Well, I mean, well, that may be true. I'm thinking, for those of us who are really, I remember as a kid, as I went down and what did I really spend? I spent it on we had cardboard somewhere. And so I basically picked whatever, was in boxes and stuff. And all I did was pay for glue and to scan in the little sheets for Warhammer 40K. And I just cut them out. So I had a big giant army. And this idea that I don't want to be the competitive, like you're talking about the competitiveness again. I don't want to be competitive. I want to go out and have fun and, and I don't really worry that much about balance. If it's me and another player, and this was the problem I had with AD&D, was the Ranger and the Paladin invalidated the fighter for the most part. And I would rather them have just, this is where I would change it up. It's like, okay, once you hit 5th level, and I know that 5e did this, but they did it too soon at 3rd level, which is really quick to get. I wish they'd made it so you had to go adventure probably for 6 months for the most part. Have 6 months of an actual campaign, and only then could you pick a Ranger or a Paladin or one of these specialty classes. So then it really was like, oh, he's a Paladin. Oh, he's at a high level. He's really kick ass. And I wish that they had done that aspect.
I don't mind.
AD&D is more skills based, isn't it?
5e got rid of a lot of the skill, knockdown skill list a lot. But the one thing I do like about 5e though is at their level you get to specialize the class by taking what archetype you want to do, which I thought was just interesting. It's like in earlier editions, Pathfinder, you did that 1st level. you did not know what your character's about. You're just building a freaking character, and you're assuming that you're going with this model. With 5e, after you played it for 3 levels, it's like, well, okay, I'm not the, I want to be the swashbuckler rogue, not the trap finding rogue, or I want to be the pick your circle. I have the
I don't have a soul. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's holding up a table with a short leg, right?
No, it's just no, go ahead.
If you like subclasses, I have 24 of them in this. So
yeah.
I mean, I love the idea of a subclass. I just wish that they had made it so it was harder to get.
Like what, 5th level?
I wish they'd.
I was using 5th level because at that point you kind of become heroic, and that's. I mean,
well, at first level you're technically heroic because not a normal person could take on X, Y, and Z, and you're already there. I mean, your stats are college level shenanigans,
No,
a first level 5e count is like a 4th level like Ozark count.
yeah. But I mean, I would have preferred it if they had done the and this was old D&D. This is this one as well. Instead of trying to look at dual classes and stuff, I thought that it would have been really cool to actually say, okay, oh hey, Batman,
Hey, Hunger.
there's no. I wish that what they had done is they had made it so characters really. It's like they made it so things advance very quickly instead of feeling like you really earned it. And
I wish they'd extended Race's class more and just made more of those types. Like, like instead of a ranger, like elves could get like a sort of cross between a druid and a ranger, and instead of a cleric, they could get a cross between a fighter and a cleric. Like. I know it's bioessentialism, but if we didn't preserve our bloodlines, how would we end up with a beautiful specimen like Hunger?
Yeah, true.
I was waiting for that.
I got my butt kicked in
I'm
battle.
not even sure what bloodline he is.
How you
I
feeling?
don't know.
How you doing, man?
I'm all right. Some days are better than others, but I'm hanging in.
Yeah,
I like the Sam Hyde beanie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. It's
Nice.
Mad.
What is that anyway? Is that
The Grinch?
Yeah, it's the Grinch.
Oh, the Grinch. I was like,
I saw a video the other day of some dad. He was dressed up as the Grinch, and he ran in during Christmas, and he just like ran out with like the Christmas tree under his arm and like all the presents, and the kids were like screaming and shit. It was fucking hilarious. Just fucking stole everything.
well, I mean,
James beat me down. It was a beat down.
Did he?
Oh, did you win?
He headshot my javelin. He headshot my catapult with PPCs. He death from above to my archer, and I ended up with 4 wounds, and I didn't make my consciousness save. My dragon was completely undamaged, but I didn't take out any of his mechs.
Oh wow.
I hate to say this about DM James, but it's okay. I have brothers too. Did he cheat?
He's made a deal. He went down to the crossroads, man.
He's just like, you know what? Let me take your dice. I'll switch mine.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if he gets really good at banjo all of a sudden. Like,
I'm actually learning how to play the banjo.
awesome.
I have a banjo.
Are you still over
I
there
play
at
keyboards.
DM James?
I play keyboards, but I thought about getting a lap steel guitar.
Oh wow!
Like, yeah, that might be
I'm,
fun.
I'm learning how to rape fat guys in the Appalachians, so.
With a
I'm gonna probably be here
washboard.
through Thanksgiving.
Oh Jesus!
No, wait.
So you put those in your shotgun?
No.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I don't have to. I just throw them and knock the guy out. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Put them on a string.
Yeah, put them in a sock.
Right?
Holy heck!
Yeah.
Put like 2 of these in a sock. Well, I've got other stuff too, but no. Here's these are my Conan, 2d20 dice for 5 of them, and there is no doubt when I play Conan, you can hear it. But what I love
Hey, Victor.
Yeah.
No,
Gygax's balls look like that.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, this is what gets me is with these, it doesn't matter which one I pick. Like if one starts rolling low or bad, I'm like, I'm just going to pick a different one. Now, nope, it rolls just as bad as the others. And
I was at a game shop and I was not working there. I was just there for, it was a buddy of mine running, and the owner of the game shop's like, "Hey, can I play?" And we're playing like 3.5, and everybody's like, "Sure, it's your shop. We're not going to tell you no." and he comes back with his bag of dice, and he comes in and he's sitting around, and everybody's having a great time. He rolls 2 nat ones, and the DM's like, "Your bowstring breaks," which I thought was kind of soft for 3.5. And next thing I know is I see a little bead of plastic go flying past my face, and it puts a hole. He put a hole in his wall, onto the wall, and everybody's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah. If I get a dice that doesn't want to work for me, I chuck it." And like, okay.
Well, see, here's the problem. He's playing the wrong system. That die was intended for 2d20.
It was a bit of a
If it rolls low, it goes to 2d20. If it rolls high, it goes to d20. That's the way it works, and that way you never have bad dice. You just I just separate you into your game system. Sorry.
So a bit of a Nina Cherry moment. Man, child.
Those big dice you showed, put them all on like a single string, and you can sell them to people like Satine Phoenix. They would go wild over that.
See, I was going to say, are you like the Thanos of D&D? But you had to go there.
Yeah,
I would watch it.
Yeah,
are you talking about?
I would do.
What? Are you talking about Phil?
Yes, I'm Dutch. What else am I talking about?
Just get a girlfriend.
No,
it's better.
Women are annoying.
Penis goes in vagina, not in internet.
So I mean, I enjoy a lot of these. I mean, but that's the whole thing when we start talking about dice. It's like, okay, let's do different dice. Like you're talking about, how in the world do you get so many headshots? I mean, that amazes me because did he do aim shot? Or was it just super lucky and got double 12?
Super lucky. See, I use Hera's crap when I play BattleTech. I know they're perfectly,
What are you
100%
doing?
casino dice. So they're not loaded.
It looked like you were jerking off.
He has his BattleTech dice that he bought, and just some games he gets headshots. And when he did the death from above, it's punch location. So he's got 1 to hit the head. He's got a 70-ton mech, so he's doing a butt ton of damage.
Yes, I remember the last time I played BattleTech, which admittedly was years ago, and what they did is they just basically had all the sheets of the different battle mechs, and as one got destroyed, you just pulled another one out, and you went over. It didn't matter what I did. Like I'd sit there and I killed myself more often than anything else, as I overheated, and I was like, okay, I'll be fine. No, ammo explosion, boom. Next one. Okay, I'm gonna do death from above. Oh, look, you lost your leg. Next one. I just kept on going like this. I said, it's not as much fun. And I know that Max likes it, but for me, I think that they should have made the hex is 300 meters, and I would have felt better. But at 30 meters, I'm like, the U.S. Army will just kill you.
I always have fun playing BattleTech, whether I win or lose.
Do you like the old version or the Alpha Strike version?
The new version, or the old version. I like dotting out my mechs, and
I as I get older, for any board game, I want it just faster. Combat takes too long in modern games.
It took us an hour.
It does. It really does.
It took us an hour and a half to play the game, and that was setting up the cameras and everything to live stream it. So if we BSing around, if we sit down to play BattleTech, we can bust out a game in 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay,
and that is the perfect time.
Yeah,
Humble Bundle has like a BattleTech bundle up right now. If anyone wants, might be interested.
Nice cock there, James.
Yeah. He's calling me a pervert, and he's showing his cock. Jesus Christ.
Actually, the first thing I could think of is that a little Velociraptor?
Oh no.
I mean, if you've ever seen
it's a taste strainer. It's a taste strainer, and it sits on the edge of your cup.
Oh, okay.
They're doing some docking.
Joke it.
Hey, well, guys, it's about that time. I've said this was going to more or less be the pre-show for Shadow and Sons.
Oh.
I just got that beep saying he's coming on pretty soon, so
Okay.
I'll be a good younger brother and make you guys stay over here and hang out with me.
I'm waiting for him to put his stuff up there. And to be fair for games like you're talking about, is I'm waiting for him to post his stuff, but because sometimes it takes Jack a good 15, 20 minutes before they get anything up and running.
Yeah, I will end the stream the moment I see his handsome mug.
But no, for the games, I would love to find out more games. I have probably found in the last couple of years. Oh, bye, James.
Bye, James.
Hi, Jim.
I have found more different and interesting systems in the last 3 years than I have in decades. And I've enjoyed a lot of them and reading them, and maybe they're not all perfect, and nothing ever is. There's always something that bugs the hell out of you. Yeah, I mean, there you go, Victor.
What that right there? That Kickstarter that you're doing with the Modern Game Adventure Guide with the guns and the bombs and the things? That thing?
Yeah, it's a very interesting system.
No, I mean, to be fair, for what you have there, yes. Yeah, well, to be fair with the whole thing, it's like I'm gonna maintain it. For having a 200-page book is pretty amazing for all of that. Regardless of what else is in there, and I assume that Victor's does a pretty good job. Is you're probably gonna get your money's worth out of that just for everything in there. So,
I truly believe so, and
I hope I make a killing.
I was just mentioning when they were talking about the rules, and the more I look at this, the best book that no one ever reads, which is what I always call.
It's
just his argument, and this is nothing against Crafty. I think Crafty is a great person, but every other DM I know that runs 5e runs Milestone.
Okay,
for those campaigns.
What is wrong with being
agree.
a lazy DM? That's what I want to know. What is wrong with being a lazy DM? Would you rather him spend more time figuring out your XP, or would you rather him figure out more time actually creating the adventure? For me,
Milestone 3.5.
Go ahead, Victor.
A Curse of Strahd literally suggests using milestones. I don't know what version he read, but the version I have is like, there's not enough XP in this fucking campaign to do it the normal way. Use milestones. So
I do it with 3.5. I'm milestone 3.5. People call me lazy, and it's like, hey.
The Curse of Strahd was a milestone. The Dragon Queen, I know DMs. All of the modules, for the most part, people that I know, and I'm not saying they're lazy, I'm just saying I know them, use milestones because it's one less thing. And when I'm trying to herd a bunch of ADD wild ass cats to sit down and game, the last thing I'm going to worry about is, did everybody get last week's XP straight? It was 5,342, 43, whatever, and there's what was last week's XP where I'm like, oh, we are in a town of bumfucked Egypt. Everybody goes up a level. And done.
I mean,
I'll take it.
Is if they have a problem with it, you guys can DM. That's what gets me about it. If you don't like the way that someone's DMing, this is what happened in all my groups.
Yeah.
Is I got tired of whoever was and how they ran the D&D group, and then I'm like, I'll be DM, and that's how you open your big fat mouth and you get stuck not being a player, is because you complain about whatever someone else does, and that's great. But if you always complain about being a forever DM, at a certain point, just shut your pie hole and do whatever the other DM does. And if it really bugs you that much, then you're gonna be the forever DM. But no, the reason I was mentioning this is I like the rules in this book for not even using proficiencies. The proficiency dice, so it's not now it's a random rather than anything else, and the skill variants. I like the skill variant one, and then all of a sudden it's like I don't have to worry about it. You know what? You can be well fleshed out, and then we'll include a profession. So if you tell me that you have this and this, then fine. That's everything that you get, and it makes a big difference, in my opinion, for speeding things up. And I don't have to worry about someone whining, well, I don't have a proficiency here, or I can't do this. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I think that there are too many rules, or the rules are not well done. and I'd say just pick this. Pick it, and then you're going to be good to go. And we'll go with it. Oh, you're a pirate, and you say you want to know how to tie knots. Yep, you get it. Can you swim? Yes, I'll give you that.
You're a pirate.
Can you ride a
Of course
horse?
You know how
No.
to tie knots and swim.
What's that?
I mean, that wasn't always a given in history, though. Like a lot of sailors didn't know how to
That's
swim.
fair. That is. Wait,
No.
you can swim? You must be a witch. Wait,
Well, actually, long ago, the funny thing was that many sailors did not want to swim because they thought that it would just prolong their agony and suffering.
Yeah.
If they fell off, because the ship would not come back for you. So,
No.
the people forget about that. It's like, oh, okay. And, it's like, oh, okay, you fall off. But my point is that if you say it and I consider it, then, okay, well, we'll give that to you. If you can make up a good thing. And I sometimes forcing players to do that, as long as the DM is willing to say no, really frees you up on a lot of stuff. And I think that's the problem that I have with the milestones is, for me, for milestones at least, is I want an actual milestone. You have to complete something. It's not just showing up to the.
Well, sometimes showing up to the next town, like the average week in Forgotten Realms is 10 days, not 7 days, but 10 days. And your DM tells you that it's going to take you a week to get from blah to blah, blah. And within those 10 days, you got the DM, me included, even if it is a module, look at a random freaking counter table for monsters. Okay, they're going through a swamp. That's going to be lizard folk. That's going to be frog guys. That's going to be, depends on the level. That's going to be a hydra, maybe a green dragon, whatever.
Yeah, green hag.
All right, so Shadows put up the StreamYard, so I'm going to head out.
All right.
Okay,
well,
all right,
that's fine.
All right, take it easy. I'll talk to you really quick, Victor. Before you bounce out, I'm gonna tell us what you are selling, and I want to do this. Tell us what you're selling, so we can try to get some more pounds in your pledge.
Euros. But yeah, it's the Modern Adventures Guide to Guns and Gear. It's basically my take on D20 Modern, but for 5th edition. Has rules for firearms, explosives, all that stuff. I have new subclasses, new skills, new feats, new backgrounds, all to let you play in a modern fantasy setting, like that Will Smith movie, Bright. Basically, you can do stuff like that. And that's it. If you're interested in that, go here and pledge.
Nice.
I can drop the link real quick in the private chat, so you can link it to people if you want.
I will do that. Hungar, as I said earlier, is glad to see you sitting upright instead of seeing you in the hospital. You seem to be a very cool guy, and I like to see people I count as my bros in an upright position.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be out of the hospital. Let's see if I can keep it more than 5 days.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to thank both you guys for hanging out with me and my weird ass show tonight. But Hunger,
I always
Victor,
gotta bring a little class into the show.
What if we're going to bring class into the show? Where's your brother?
Yeah.
Well, he's laying down. He's tired.
No.
Yeah, he's all skinny and sickly now.
Right. Everybody out in the chat, you have a good night. Multi-Gunman, I did not mean to ban you. I am so sorry. I had a bot that I was dealing with, and I clicked on the wrong person. And other than that, go check out Shadow and Shun's show. I think they're doing part 2 of sci-fi and politics.
Drop me a link to that and I'll watch it.
I will throw that into Discord for you. Hunger, I will have to come see you on your show one of these days and maybe even get on it and me and you chill out.
All right.
Yeah.
I will see you on the Shadows show.
All right. Everybody have a good evening and happy Thanksgiving.
Later.
Bye-bye.